I am learning all sorts of crazy things about pulling apart engines and undoing hoses. Good afternoon. I'm in Ramona, California, and today I'm focusing on mechanics, auto mechanics, and I'm checking my fluid levels. And then this evening I have a really interesting project that I've been invited to, and I'm going to bring you along. Those of you who have been following my vlog for a while know that I struggle with auto mechanics, and this all ties back to two things, I think. From childhood. First, it wasn't really an interest for me. It just didn't even fall on the radar of things that I wanted to do. I was more interested in reading books and things like science fiction, fantasy, and I didn't want to get my hands dirty. So those were the two factors in why I had no motivation to do any sort of auto mechanics, working with engines, changing oil, nothing like that. It wasn't until much later that I discovered something that made all the difference. Well, really both of those factors. The first was these little gloves. Wearing gloves, these rubber gloves, allowed me to not get my hands dirty. And that made it so much easier, and I was able to get in and get dirty without having this like revolting feeling about, I don't know, working with engines. So that was the first factor. And the second was buying a vehicle that I had interest in working on. So those were the two big factors. But the gloves were one of the biggest things. I think I just like blowing into the gloves. Maybe that's why they're so fun to put on. I feel like somehow that helps with getting my hand inside the glove. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But it's just fun. My Stefan has the longest dipstick that I've ever seen in the world. There's two dipsticks, one for the oil and one for the transmission. Both are crazy long. Here's the oil dipstick. Check that out. All right, oil looks good. I'm not going to check the transmission fluid right now, not for real, because then I have to go start up the engine, but I want to show you the dipstick. It's so long, it's so crazy long. Check that out. That's like 6-7 feet long. Actually, I checked the transmission fluid like 2-3 days ago. It's fine. For me, the gloves make all the difference. They were a game changer. I was able to get in, work on the engine, do all this grimy stuff without this like revolting feeling. It's just a wonderful thing, and they're fun. All right, the fluid levels look good. It's good to check up on those every once in a while. I enjoy doing that. Right now I'm in Ramona, California, staying with Scott, who's one of my subscribers to my channel. And he has a buddy, and every Wednesday evening they get together to work on different kinds of projects. Sometimes it's working on quadcopters, sometimes it's working on custom circuit boards for LED lights, sometimes it's a laser cutter. They have 3D printers. Basically, they have a miniature maker lab that they do all sorts of crazy projects together. And for the next several weeks, they're working on a project for Bill. So there's Scott and Bill. And Bill has an engine that he just pulled from a Toyota pickup truck, and just a few weeks ago, he thinks he blew a head gasket. So this evening they're going to be pulling apart the engine to diagnose it, to see if it is indeed the head gasket or if it's something else. So because I'm trying to learn about auto mechanics and engines and how engines work and how to repair engines, I think this will be a great experience for me to hang out with some guys doing mechanical stuff, wearing my gloves, and trying to up my level of knowledge just a little bit more. And I'm going to try to pick up some tips from these guys. We're going to be driving from here in Ramona to the outskirts of San Diego proper. So I think it's like a 30-40 minute drive down there. Maybe get a bite to eat down there, at least I hope so. Scott just arrived home. It's time to hit the road and head out to San Diego to meet up with Bill and work on his project. Tonight I've got involved with these two guys behind me in pulling apart an engine from a Toyota truck. Behind me is Bill. This engine belongs to him, and helping out is Scott. Scott is my subscriber to my channel who has invited me to this evening event. So we're going to try to pull apart this engine, and I'm going to try to learn a little bit more about auto mechanics. This is Bill. I just met Bill just, I don't know, an hour and a half ago, and he's the one that's got the engine here. What are we doing?
Well, this is a 28-year-old truck, and it's got 360,000 miles, and well, the engines don't last that long. So I blew the head gasket a few weeks ago on a trip, and you know, I could probably just buy a pre-built engine, but it's kind of the road I went down before. So, but this time I think I'm just going to rebuild it myself so I can do it right and use good parts.
So more fun, and you're bringing me into this because
education.
Education for me.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
All this spaghetti right here, I could never put this back in a million years. So we're just gonna take a lot of pictures, and then I guarantee you we're gonna be huddled around the computer figuring out where these hoses went later.
It's a great tip.
I took 400 pictures when I did the engine on my Land Cruiser, similar to this.
I am learning all sorts of crazy things about pulling apart engines and undoing hoses. The biggest tip these guys are telling me is take pictures of everything. I think we've probably taken 300, 400 pictures. Half the time I'm the cameraman, half the time it's them. And it is just this fascinating, crazy project of pulling things out and snapping pictures, different angles, and I guess this Toyota uses a number 12 for almost everything, so that's the go-to wrench of choice here.
Okay, so we got most of the stuff off of this side of the engine, and this side I think we're ready to pull the head off, and this is the moment of truth to find out, was it really the head gasket that blew, or is it worse than that?
And what are we seeing with this liquid stuff?
So normally oil is not supposed to be milk chocolate covered. This is like a homogenation between water, coolant, and oil, and it's run through the water pump or the oil pump enough to turn into just a permanent, you know, mess. So this is not what you want to see. There's one bolt in this thing that always hides, and everybody always forgets it because it's buried under a little bit of oil in a little kind of pool there, and it's the bolt that connects the head to the timing cover, and people try to take the timing cover off or take the head off, and they can't get it off because of that one bolt. So there's the magic mystery bolt on a 22 RE engine. The springs,
Adjusters?
And adjusters,
Good.
the whole operation. Rock it up on its, well, let's
Careful, we're dripping everywhere.
okay. You want to just take it over to the bench? Here it is. Here's our head gasket. Now, can you see in the camera, can you see this glittery stuff here? Looks like glitter. It looks like we determined it was unicorn snot. But this is some additive that we put into the engine to try and save the red gasket. There's this stuff called BARS, head gasket repair. and it's some kind of like carbon fiber infused stuff that you put into the coolant, and it's supposed to hopefully save your head gasket and get you down the road. Some people said they put it in and it saved them 2 years of repair time. But we tried it. The stuff was expensive. It was like 50 bucks a jug, and it didn't get me home. I ended up getting towed home, so $50 down the drain. But you can, I don't see anything that looks like obvious.
I think it's right.
I mean, I don't know what I'm looking at really, you know, as far as failures goes. But it's going to be on this number 3 cylinder. Look how clean that number 3 cylinder is. That's because it got steam cleaned from all the hot coolant.
It's the RGB section up front.
I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but it is kind of rusty in this area. Could have been like right, see how this is just coming apart right there?
That's where it was.
That could have been the failure point right there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it was.
Shouldn't separate so easy right there.
Let's turn it around.
Well, I wanted to clean it. So this was the number 3 cylinder here.
Under the metal or the gasket and go in the cylinder.
We're done with the engine project for tonight. This is the shop here. You can see a couple of cars here and the Toyota back over here. Some dragsters off in the distance, the gassers, golf cart. Looks like a stock car or something, NASCAR thing back there. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Savor the moment. See you next time.